similar to what we started with yesterday. So remember, put your thumb up in front of your body when you think you have it. You have to look at the board first to see what we're looking at. And then, if you come up with more than one way to explain this one, you can put more fingers out to show that. Okay? So put your thumb up in front of your body. We're gonna wait for everybody to have a chance to think about it. Remember, no calculators, no writing stuff down. Keep thinking about it if you're not sure yet. Try and come up with which one would not be equal to 60%. Alright, so we have the majority. This one, there's not quite as much to explain as normal, but let's talk about it first. So first, only your answers. So which fraction do you think is not equal to 60%? Okay, Delaney, you want to start?
I want to say it's 1/6.
You want to say, so you're leaning towards 1/6?
Yep.
Alright, Jaden?
1/6.
You back that up. Okay. Sydney?
1/6.
1/6.
Okay, are we bandwagon jumpers or you all really thought 1/6?
I thought it was why.
Alright,
Me
so
too.
now we're
Let
looking
me-
for explanations of why 1/6 is the odd one out, does not belong. So think about it. Jaden, why don't you explain first, and then if you have a different explanation, you can explain.
So I know 60 times 60 over 160%.
Okay.
5 I times by 20 to get to 100, then I times the top by 20 to 60.
Okay.
And then I went to 160 and times that by 40 and got to 100. And then times 1 by 40 and see that was 40%. Or I did it wrong and that is.
You got the right idea. So I understand that these two are equal to 60% for sure because you did this times 20 and this, so you multiply the numerator and the denominator and you got 60 over 100. So you convinced me on this one and this one. I still need convincing that it's not 21/35. Who can convince me? Delaney, you're gonna try?
I got that one halfway done. I knew that 35 times 5 is 100, right?
35 times 5 is not 100. 20 times 5 is 100. So think about, what could we do with that to see if it's equal or not? So I'm gonna call in Sydney because she's been waiting patiently, and then I'll come to you, McKenna. Yes.
Okay, so I just know it's not 1/6 because, like James said, 60 over 100 is 60%, and then for the 3/5, I just times it by 2 to get to 10, so 6 over 10.
6/10. Okay.
Yeah, and then 1/6 isn't 60% because if you times that by, say, times by 10, it would only be 10/60ths, and that's not 6%. It has to be like 60 over 100, not 10 over 6 or something. But then I was trying to figure out how to do 21 over 35, but I'm not quite sure how to do that one.
Okay, so let's let McKenna try and explain this. Is this what you're explaining? 21
Yeah.
30? Okay, so what do you think?
I think I had, okay, 21 over 35, if you divide by 7, it will be 3 over 5, and then times 20, which it will be 60 over 100.
Okay, so really when you have a bigger fraction with a bigger numerator and denominator, trying to simplify it to the simplest form is gonna help you the most. So McKenna noticed that 7 was a common factor, so she simplified to 3/5, and then from there, if you know that they're equal, then you're good. Okay, so 1/6 is good. I agree, I'm happy you came up with 1/6. What is another reason, like Sydney said, she just knew right away 1/6 wasn't it. Is there any other thing you can come up with to explain why we would know 1/6 can't be 60%? There's one thing I was hoping else we would talk about.
Because we know that it doesn't matter. I mean, we know that it. Okay, I have, like, if it was 1/3, 1/5, and all those, for the percentages, I know for a fact that 1/6 does not equal 60%.
That's true.
It is on one of my note sheets.
any other reasons why? There's just one main point. Yes. So I'm gonna give you a hint, okay? Is 60% more or less than half?
More.
Right, because it's more than 50%? Is 1/6 more or less than half?
No.
Less.
More or less, what do you think?
Less.
What would half, if we wanted to have a fraction that was equal to a half with a denominator of 6, what would the numerator have to be? 3, right? So we know that 1/6 is less than half because it's less than 3/6. So without having to solve all of the other ones, if we notice that 1/6 is less than a half and 60% is greater than a half or 50%, that's another way to solve the problem. Does that make sense? Abby, are you with us? Okay. So that's another way to approach it. But I like that you were trying to get a denominator of 100 and that, McKenna, that you thought about simplifying. Okay, we have one more challenge problem for today for our number talk. And we're gonna see how close we can get. So here's our division problem for the day. Ooh. Okay, so remember, no writing it down, even though it's tempting. No calculators. Look at the numbers and give it a try, okay? This is a challenging one. See if you can get it. Or see how close you can get. And then put your thumb up if you think you have it.
Too much.
I know, I see lots of thinking happening, that's good. Again, even if you're not exactly sure, see how close you can get. So see how far you can get. Just a second, we have a few thumbs, we're thinking about it. I know this is a lot harder than the one we tried yesterday. So, if you have, oh, you want a second? Okay.
Never mind.
Are you sure?
Oh,
I mean, I
wait,
interrupted you.
Hold on.
Okay.
2 more seconds.
Okay.
2 more seconds.
You can have a minute.
Jaden, shut up.
Calm down, let everybody have a chance to think.
I think it would be. No, it's probably not. I don't care. I'm still gonna risk it. Wait, I'm just gonna write down my answer so I don't
Okay.
forget it. There we go.
Okay. So if you are willing to share your answer, even if it's okay if you're wrong, right? We just want to kind of see what you came up with. What do you think it might be, McKenna?
The base number?
Yep.
Okay, I think it's 1128 over 100.
And 28 over 100. Okay.
I'm just thinking.
That's fine. I'm glad you were willing to share. Jaden, you were.
I had it in a decimal. I didn't put it in a frame.
Okay, so what do you think the decimal is, even though I asked you for a mixed number?
11.7.
11.7, okay. What else? And you got that without a calculator,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Cindy?
Wait.
I got 11.02, but I know that's wrong because I went and rethought my thinking and I realized that was wrong.
Okay.
I didn't know what I wrote here.
So you can keep thinking about it if you want to re-go through it. Austin, did you have a guess that you wanted to share or not?
Yeah, but never mind.
Are you
It's
sure?
gonna be way off.
Just share it.
No.
Was it in the ballpark or not really?
Nope.
Okay.
What was it? It was like 100.
Okay. I'm guessing that maybe you were thinking about dividing by 4 instead of 40.
Yeah.
That might be why you were around 100. Okay. So if you had one of these answers, which I'll tell you, a couple of them might be close to correct, maybe. Maybe one is kind of correct. We're close. We're in the right ballpark for sure. So, who can explain how they got what they got? Okay? We'll let Sydney goes first this time. She went last time.
Okay. So
Just a second, pause. If you did not come up with an answer, I need you to pay attention now so that when we do another one like this, you can have more of an idea for how to do it, okay? So pay attention because someone else explaining their strategy might help you figure out how to do it, okay? Sorry, Sydney, go ahead.
Okay, so what I did, I just used the long division method like I always do because I don't know any other things.
Okay, so we'll talk about that.
So I knew that 40 went into 46 one time. So I put the 1 on top in my brain.
So you were just visualizing,
Mhm.
okay?
And then, so I saw that there was 6 left over. And then I brought down the 8 and saw that 40 went into 68 one time with 28 left over.
Okay.
And then I added a decimal and a 0 because I knew 40 couldn't go into 28. And so then I brought the 0 down, and this is where I messed up because I thought I had 240 at the bottom. So then I don't know how I got .02.
Okay.
But, I put it into it 6 times, I think. Because 4 times 6 is 24, add the 0, 420, no, not 420, 240.
Okay.
But that's,
Oh, look what we have left though.
wait, oh my god, wait, oh, okay, no, Jaden, be quiet. Okay, so it went into it 6 times.
Okay,
And
so you
then-
said 6. Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into it one more time,
So instead of 6 here, we should have,
a 7.
Yep.
which
Okay.
would be
Do it.
280, right? Okay, so you're right, kind of. So you got our answer in decimal form. So what would this be as a mixed number, first of all?
11 and 70 over 100.
Or
7/10.
7/10, okay. So McKenna, you were really close. So here's why. At this point, you got 28 left over,
Yeah, I
right?
just thought that like
So
the
what-
numerator would have a decimal or anything,
Mhm.
so.
Yep, so 28 was a good start. But when we make a mixed number out of our division, like if we have remainder, so let's say we didn't add the decimal, if we have remainder 28, what does the denominator have to be? Help her out, we talked about this yesterday. If we have a remainder of 28,
40 because it's the divisor.
right, so 40 has to be the denominator there. So you were so close, you just put it over 100, probably because we're used to percents being over 100, right? So this, when we simplify, if we divide the top and the bottom by 4,
It would be 7/10.
right, so you had it, and I didn't even say that it had to be in simplest form. So that would technically be correct, 11 and 28 40ths.
Yeah, I was thinking about like simplifying when I got my answer.
Okay, so nobody thought of this like as, I know that 40 would go into 410 times. Liam did? Okay, so one way to do it, instead of long division, because I know that's what we are defaulting to,
I don't like long division.
okay? So if you don't like it, here's another method, Delaney, okay? Well, other than calculators. If we can chunk the number up a little bit, it makes it a lot easier. So instead of think of how many times does 40 go into 400, and then how many times would it go into 68? Delaney. Okay? So if we're thinking about this separated into two chunks instead of all one, we would know that 40 goes into 400 10 times. And then we could also see that 40 would go into 68 just one time. So then at least we're at 11. We know it's around 11. So that's one way to do it. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of the long division? I know some of you are really stuck in your long division ways. Alright, we're gonna keep practicing the division ones. This is
Well, I hate
only our
vision
second
hates
one.
me and I hate